Tibbetts with 7. Sports Director Matt Bove. It is Sunday night. It does not feel like a dream anymore. The reality is set in. The Buffalo Bills have fallen to the previously 1-5 New England Patriots,
Yeah.
29-25 in Foxborough. Matt, there are so many different ways you could start the conversation of what went wrong and why it went wrong. What are the ones that stand out to you immediately as you process this game?
All of it. All of it went wrong. Everything that they could do to keep the Patriots in the game, they did. And then obviously they dug themselves a little bit too big of a hole. By the time they dug themselves finally out of that hole, then the defense couldn't make a stop. I think the first half was about the offense once again and how ineffective they look. They just look flat. It doesn't look like they can do anything. In the last 3 weeks, they've scored a combined 10 points in the first half, which is inexcusable for one of the offenses that's supposed to be one of the better units in the NFL. And then in the second half, like we saw a little bit last week against the Giants, the offense woke up. They went from 3 points to 25 points in the second half. That's good. But then the defense started to struggle, and they let Mac Jones march down the field 75 yards with 2 minutes left on the clock and beat them. I thought at that point the Bills were up 3. You're like, okay, maybe the Patriots put together a drive. They kick a field goal. This thing goes to overtime. But no, the Bills give up the big play, and they were outplayed. And they were outcoached. And when you're both, you're almost never going to win. Sometimes you can get away with doing one of the things. They did both of them, and it came back to haunt them.
Offensively, Matt, everybody this week, a lot of fans putting, a lot of question marks on Ken Dorsey. Is he the reason why the Bills are coming off to such a slow start? But I think for the first 3.5 quarters or so, number 17 didn't look that sharp. I have no idea if that has anything to do with the shoulder problem or it's just some inconsistencies there, but obviously it's another week where we saw him really step up and kind of pull those rabbits out of the hat as the team gets into desperation mode. Mm-hmm. Is 17 more to blame, you think, for the offense's problems today? Is it still maybe a question with Dorsey? I'm guess this is trying to make sense of why this offense, who's so high caliber, who has shown us in 3 games prior to the season that they could be one of the best in the NFL, are just not living up to that standard right now.
Allen needs to be better, and he's going to take some of the blame on this one, as he does whenever they lose, but I don't think it's all on him, and I don't even really think the majority of it should be on him. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. I think part of it is Ken Dorsey. I think part of it is the lack of playmakers that they have surrounded Josh Allen with, and then I think some of it's obviously on Josh Allen. Like the first play of the game, offensively, the interception, it's a bad throw. Like that's a mistake that you cannot have against an inferior opponent, because every time you turn the ball over, you're giving them a chance to hang around, or in that case, they jumped out to a 10-0 lead. After that, though, there were a couple throws that I'm sure he would want back, but the thing that I look at, I've got the stats right in front of me here. So I am a Gabe Davis guy. Look at what happened today. Gabe Davis had 5 targets, 1 catch, and 6 yards. That is your second wide receiver. That could not be the production that you're getting out of your second wide receiver. Dawson Knox had 3 targets, 1 catch, and 10 yards. Dawson Knox has paid a ton of money. You need more from Dawson Knox, and he had a critical drop in this game that halted them on 4th down. They could have maybe gotten points there. So, I mean, you look at some of their supposedly top playmakers, and they're just not involved. I don't know what it is. I don't know why this is happening, but it's just all around flat right now. I will say this, though. They kind of do this every year. So I don't want to make it seem like it's too much of a panic mode, because they had the exact same thing happen to them last year against the Jets in New York. And then they went on a little 3 or 4 week stretch where they just never looked right. The year before that, they had it happen against the Patriots in that game where there was the crazy wind, and they lost that game, and then they lose to the Bucs. It happens every year. The thing that's weird is it's happening earlier this year. So I guess you can look at it one of 2 ways. There's more time to figure it out, or it's going to be a problem for longer in the season. So I guess that just depends whether you had glass half full or glass half empty.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that too, because I thought back to would have been the 21 season, right? Where You're right. The Patriots lost, the Bucs lost, and then basically the Bills looked like the best team in football up until 13 seconds. Defensively, Matt, I know the injury bug has hit the Buffalo Bills the last 2 years. They've escaped it for so long. In the last 2 years, it's really nipped them. Defense injuries are not here. You're playing Mac Jones and the Patriots. I mean, that on a game where you didn't need your worst performance of the season, the defense kind of put it in there today. Is there reason for long-term concern about this defense, the way Sean McDermott calls it, because of what we saw today?
I think that we saw the flaws that they have because of the major injuries that they have suffered on that side of the ball. And I think that you win this game if you have, well, definitely win this game if you have Tre'Davious White, Daquan Jones, and Matt Milano, but you probably win this game if you have one of those guys out there. Dorian Williams had a nice game last week. He get benched in this game. The interior defensive line is just not cutting it right now. Now, the weird thing is, they actually didn't run the ball incredibly well. Like Ramondre Stevenson only averaged 3.8 yards a carry. Ezekiel Elliott only averaged 2.8 yards a carry. But it just never felt like the Bills were getting any push from the middle, especially in passing downs. So that was why they were so effective early in the season, because Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver. Well, now you lose both of those guys, and those other secondary pieces can't get the push. And then that makes everybody else just a little bit more, a little bit more pressure, a little bit more responsibility. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely reasons to be concerned. But I think I've said for the last couple of weeks, if this team is going to do anything, if they're going to accomplish anything, it's got to be because of the offense. Like, they need to figure out the offense. If they do that, then they have a chance. If they don't, then who knows if they even make the playoffs.
Looking at the Bills' wins this year, right? You take away, aside from the Giants game, last week, 30 points is the magic formula. And this offense seems like 30 points is so very achievable at their best. I mean, you saw it in Las Vegas. You saw it with Miami. Obviously, the defense helped a little bit there. Epinesa had that great game against the Commanders, but it seems so achievable, yet it's like just pulling needles right now because it's not coming easy. The easy is not coming easy, and the difficult is coming very late in the game, and you're making 17 put a cape on. I guess with the half glass full kind of mentality here, Matt, because we could talk about this all day, but I don't want to keep you too long.
No, you're good.
What is a bright spot that you saw today? I'll go first and just say I like what they did with James Cook. I mean, James Cook has continued to take the right steps to show that he is running back one, that they can use him in multiple different ways, that he is a good dynamic into this offense. I get it. It's not easy to look, but I was trying to also look at the positives of what you take away from this game. James Cook stood out to me as one of the very few that consistently I thought played well this game. Is there anything on a half glass full? Just because you also said you don't want to press the panic button just yet.
Yeah, well, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, Dalton Kincaid led the Bills with 75 receiving yards. And I think when you use a first-round pick on a tight end, you need to make sure that he's involved. And we saw that today. Now, obviously, that did not lead to wins, but this will not surprise me if Dalton Kincaid becomes the second most targeted guy on this team moving here on out. The thing that I think they need to figure out is they have this plan to use all this 12 personnel offense with two tight ends on the field. Are you doing that, though, just because you have both Kincaid and Knox? And would you be a more dynamic offense with 11 personnel and your one tight end being Kincaid? Because right now, Knox is not stepping up in the way that you need him to. So I think he's a good depth piece to have down the road, but I don't know if your base offense needs to always be with two tight ends on the field. So I liked what I saw from Dalton Kincaid today. I also liked what I saw, obviously, like you said, from James Cook. I really liked what I saw from Josh Allen in the second half. He was near perfect. That's a good sign. It's a good, even though you lose today, all of the games that you play down the season as the season moves along become more and more important. And you need your quarterback to be your best player in the second half. And for the last couple of weeks, he has been. So if they can figure out the slow start stuff, we can perform in the second half. So it's just, how do you figure out the first half? I don't know the answer to this. And I said I don't want to press the panic button, but I don't know how much longer this goes on. Like, how many more weeks does this need to happen before we're talking about potentially some sort of shakeup? Like, Sean McDermott's not going anywhere. Josh Allen's not going anywhere. So what happens after that? I don't know the answer to that, and I don't think we're even close to that at this point. But if this happens one more time or two more times, and we're doing the same Zoom call on a Friday after the Bucs and they don't score any points in the first half, like, there's real concern and conversations to be had.
No, listen, Bills fans need answers right now. The social media has been blowing up for an immediate answer, and I think we all know the person that people are pointing the finger at right now. I agree. And we've said it every week this season. As long as Josh Allen is able to do the things he's able to do on a pretty close to 100% healthy, you're always going to feel like you have a shot. But there is a breaking point. I don't think we've gotten there yet. I'm not pressing a panic button because I think you alluded to the fact that the Bills have done this, even though it's a little early. This is a pattern they've hit in the past couple of seasons. That being said, you keep sputtering, you could be 3-4 at this point. But that just is
one other thing. They are not letting Josh Allen run the ball, and I don't know when that changes. That is not going to be a forever thing, but it is very clear that Josh is not running like he once did. One of the reasons this offense was so dynamic for so long was because when there wasn't something there, Josh is an unbelievable athlete and he could roll out to his side. He could, get the defenders to pause and then he would scamper for a 5-6 yard gain, first down. He is not doing that at all. I'm assuming it's by design. I'm assuming it's the coach is telling him, don't do that. Do that later in the season. But maybe it's such an important part of the offense that they cannot function without that aspect of it. When he's moving, when he's running for first downs, they are so much more unpredictable and they are so much more dynamic. So I think that's going to come at some point. They just have to decide when they're going to be okay with that, because clearly right now they are not the best version of themselves.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's just the coaching staff simply being, we don't want our franchise quarterback getting hurt, before midway part of the season. But again, to your point, when does that change? What is the point where we have to say, you know what? Throw what we've been doing out the window. Let's get back to the roots here. Let's make the easy be easy again. Excuse me. I'm getting, congested because of this Bills game right
You're
now.
just so emotional.
So emotional. Yeah. All right. So looking ahead, Buffalo Bills take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back here Thursday night. It's going to be on, our channel, Matt Bove.
On our station.
Right here.
Channel
right
7.
Here on WKVW. So that'll be something we'll look forward to. Maybe the short week. Maybe it's just get back into business early enough. You can get the sour taste of this loss out of your mouth. But other than that, we just have to wait 5 more days to go before the Bills play the Bucs next time. Matt, thank you for taking the time. That's 7 Sports Director Matt Bove. I'm Dom Tibbetts. We'll see you all soon.